you.
Okay, my day, it has been eventful so far. Like I've had a lot of meetings and yeah, still going on though, but yeah, it has been very, very eventful and productive.
Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for the response. Um, okay, somebody else from let's see. Okay, Okechukwu Chinda from the Entrepreneur. Please can you unmute and tell us how you are? Just something. Anything. You can say you're fine. You can say you're not fine. Anything. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, GSAM and fellow Greens.
Good
Actually,
evening.
yes, my day has been not too stressful, just a bit balanced, but I've been working on something. I've been trying to do one or two. So my school is always on session because it's a distant learning institution. So I had one or two to do, but nevertheless, I think my day has been great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Okechukwu. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. Okay, so let's head straight to the our purpose for today's meeting. Yeah, today we have a guest. His name is the plugin director for Plugin Nigeria, and he will be taking us on the topic realities of climate change and how young people can make a difference. Um, a round of applause, or you can click on this on the reactions as we welcome Solomon Ekundayo. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Solomon.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, Mr. Solomon. Sorry, before you continue, sir, Goonies, please don't forget you will have to set two questions, two solid questions that are relevant. Please, to make sure you listen to what Solomon is saying and get your questions set. Thank you. Continue, sir.
All right. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, I'll just go straight to our discussion for tonight. It's more of discussion and not me trying to teach us or facilitate a session. No. Because these are realities that we see, we experience, we know, and I'm sure we acknowledge it that the effect of climate change. But before I start, do we still have anyone amongst us that still believe that climate change is a joke or just a concept for people to get rich? Do we still have somebody that having like a different uh, scope or thought about climate change? Please, if you have anybody, I would like to hear from us. Anybody is having a different explanation of what climate change is, or maybe not even believing that the concept of climate change is actually true. You don't have to mute. You can use the chat. Anybody? Okay, I want to believe we all agree that climate change is real and it's a pressing issue for
I
us in the
saw.
African.
Good evening,
Oh,
sir.
okay, please go on. Yeah, good
Okay, yeah,
evening.
I was trying to raise my hand, but you didn't actually notice that. So I wanted to just mention that if you have any response towards that, I think you should actually give it because maybe the person is shy while on this call now, but the very first session that we had, there's actually a greening without doubt and that asks that kind of question if climate change is a conspiracy, what the GSAMs think, and all of those. So if you actually have any response, I would actually love that you provide it on this call. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. So I feel like we have people, not even that person, we have a lot of people that still think and believes that climate change is just a concept to get rich for profit, or it's just a joke. It's not that serious. But we in quotes, the advocates, make it feel like the only problem that the world is facing is climate change. We have some other problems, right? It should be more than it should. Climate change should not be the problem. Shouldn't be the big deal. The big deal. I wish you can see my hand the way I'm making that quote in the air. Yeah, that is not the big deal. Um, well, we'll get to see it while we go on in this discussion. We'll get to talk about it. I'll get to bring those realities to our faces and give us case studies, give us scenarios that we can relate to. I believe we can relate to. At the same time, there are still people that would bring all of their evidences to show you that climate change is not true, it's not real. Maybe the anti climate change or pro climate change or whatever they call themselves. Yeah, because for every concept in this world, yes, there's always a particular group of people that are against it. And when you try to check it deep, you see that those people that are actually against it know that it's true, but they are probably after those people that are making, how do I put it, polluters in this sense of climate change. They're actually working with the polluters to make it seem like climate change is not true. But yeah, let's go straight into this. That is realities of climate change and how young people can make a difference. Before I continue, please in the chat, can you just drop an emoji of how you're feeling? An emoji of how you're feeling. I'm sure some people are tired already. It's like to 9. So how you're feeling, just drop maybe one or two persons, then we'll continue. An emoji of how you're feeling. I don't know if you can hear me, guys. Please, let's make it fast. Oh, precious. I don't know if this emoji is exhaustion. Faustina, who's fighting with you? Ola Dimeji. Oh, yes, that. All right. Thank you very much. So now, to the next slide, please. Talking about realities of climate change. How do young people like us, can make difference? Climate crisis actually very real. Talking about unpredictable rainfall, talking about prolonged droughts, um, disrupting disrupting agriculture. So talking about this unpredictable rainfall, some of us, I think we are still able to track rainfall when we was like, let's say 10 years or 15 years ago. Because we say, okay, from like let's say early, maybe um late May to like June, July, and probably like to like August, we have that heavy rainfall. And the peak is going to be around July, August. But right now, rain can actually fall tomorrow in your area, and it's going to be heavy. So people no longer know, can even predict, okay, this is going to be the time for rain now. This is going to be the time for Harmattan now. Some places like Lagos, no, there's nothing called Harmattan. There's no cold weather anymore. So these are like the realities that we are facing. And for drought, some places now, some places that used to be wet are now very dry, because there's something called the desert encroachment. Some communities in the north are now gradually becoming like having like a like deserts. That means their vegetation are now dying. These places are now very dry. So the concept of climate change in our reality is either too much water or less water. So for too much water, it means that communities or regions that do not even experience, that are dry, are now experiencing too much water. For the other one is regions that are wet are now experiencing lack of water, now becoming dry. So these are like those realities that we face, leading to unpredictable rainfall, leading to prolonged drought. And this, of course, it disrupts the agriculture, because when farmer already put it in place that, okay, within this year, I should be able to plant like 3 times and make 3 harvests within a year, because they believe that, okay, maybe late December, they plant and get their stuff in 3 months, then the next 3 months. But along that line, there's no rainfall. Or maybe within that, maybe they plan for like March and June, you're having the rainfall. No rainfall at all in March. Everything changes. Everything, it disrupts the whole plan and leading to food insecurity because it depends. Their harvest is what we eat, what we have as our food. So that leads to food insecurity. Then this also talks about increased frequency of floods in urban and rural areas. For instance, for coastal communities, we have glaciers melting. And what does this have to do? That means that the areas that are having ice are melting, increasing the sea level. If it was, let's say, probably 10 feet before, when glaciers melt, it becomes like 15. And how does this affect us in coastal communities? That means that what the sea level rises, and this actually comes into our community, encroaching into our community. That's why you see places like inside of Lagos, called some place called Ibejuleki. I mentioned Lagos because I stay in Lagos, called Ibejuleki. They're already having communities being submerged with water, like flood. Like this is a very, like you see that somebody that was staying close to the shores before, you no longer see the person's house in like a week because the rise in sea level was actually like encroach into that person's house and is pushing community people out of their community. So people like in the rural areas, they experience this, and also in the urban areas too, they also experience this as a result of climate crisis. Then also rising temperature affecting water, food security, and health. Oh my God, I'm still going to use Lagos too as well. um if you go out, when you're inside your room, if you don't have AC, trust me, your fan is blowing hot breeze. When you want to go bathe, your water from your shower is hot. When you come out again, the breeze is hot because of heat. So the temperature now the temperature is actually very is high, is increased. We're now experiencing how do I put this word, hottest month. You say we are experiencing the hottest January ever recorded, experiencing the hottest February ever recorded, experiencing the hottest March ever recorded, experiencing the hottest April ever recorded. Like that means every month is like new record, breaking world record every month for hotness, and this is a very serious issue. NIMET, I think, is it NIMET? Or I think NIMET, that's like the Nigerian meteorology agency. They actually gave a forecast of some regions experiencing up to 42 degrees Celsius, 45 degrees Celsius. That is insane. That kind of temperature is insane for human to actually live. Imagine the intensity of the sun is temperature is up to 45 degrees. That is insane. That is unbearable. Working outside, you feel excruciating heat. You're just annoyed. You're just vexing for people. You're just parrying. And you feel like, what is wrong with me? But it's the weather because it's affecting you. Coupled with the fact that you now wear black again, making it more intense for you. So, and this of course affects health because some illness, some diseases, they thrive more in heat, in hot weather. They thrive more. Maybe let's say for instance malaria, you can't imagine having running temperature, and still under hot weather again. That's like giving it pro marks of the illness. And of course, waterborne diseases too. When flood encroach into your community, it leads to places where mosquito can breed, and of course leads to let's say cholera, malaria, and the rest of it. So those are like the realities that we face. I'm sure that people on this call understand what I'm talking about, and they can actually begin to like, okay, this is actually true. This community, even if it's not a community, community close to wherever you're staying or this or that, at least experience one of these things I've mentioned so far. Talking about coastal erosion, I mentioned that already. Talking about desertification threatening homes and livelihood, I think I mentioned that earlier. In the north, some places where they're not even desert before. Going back to the places now, you now see that they're now desert because it's desert encroachment. That is leading to lack of water, leading to drought. The land are now dry; it's not fertile anymore. vegetation are dying because there's no water, like less or no rainfall in those communities. Talking about this experience, I mentioned in this place, Kaduna and Lagos, because I'm familiar with this place. I mean, for North Kaduna, also for the West Lagos. So it's a two different reality there. For the North, for drought, and for Lagos for floods. So those are like the climate crisis that we can relate to, that we can see, that we can actually pinpoint to those things as the reality of climate change in our community. Please, the next slide. Am I still making sense? I don't know if, okay, yeah, thank you. So now, this leads to climate injustice. How has this, what is really causing this thing? I see that some communities are experiencing more effect of the climate change, and while others are not experiencing at all. Talking about the global south and the global north. I don't know if you understand what the concept of global south and global north. For we in Africa, we are under the global south, and the Western countries are actually under the global north. And those are the people that global north are the people that are actually polluting the environment, causing all of the whole great havoc in the environmental and climate space. I mean, heavy emission because they have more industries in their country, they have more factories, they have more manufacturing system. I mean, they are more developed, so they use more of things that actually emit greenhouse gases that in turn leads to global warming. And we, in our own end in Africa, we don't have that amount of industrialization, and we do have that amount of machines that actually like emit more of those gases, leading to us contributing to less to the effect of climate change. I mean, to climate change that is through global warming, and they contributing more to it. So this is where we talk about climate injustice and the unequal burden. So it's not unequal because they pollute more and we experience the effect more, but they are able to get more structures to be able for them to be able to like endure, or not even endure, but for them to be able to like adapt to the effect of climate change. That is called climate adaptation. They're able to like adapt to the effect of climate change. They're able to mitigate those problems. They have systems put in place for them to actually like tackle things around flooding, tackle heat waves, tackle different effect of climate change. But we at our own, and I mean Africa at large, do not have those infrastructures to tackle it. For instance, some years ago when they had this massive flood in Nigeria, about 23 states in Nigeria was flooded, and we didn't have even the right early warning system. Even after the early warning system, we still don't have places to put people when they evacuate them from their community. You can't tell them that they should leave their community because they're going to experience flooding, and there's no place for like for them to settle, for them to get food, for them to get water. So you just tell them, oh, this community is going to be experiencing flooding in the next 6 months. Okay, what should we do about it? Should we run from our own where we are staying? How do we eat? How do we feed? How do we sleep? How do we do our normal thing? But there's no place for that in Nigeria and Africa. So these are like those things that we're experiencing in terms of climate injustice, and we contribute less to all those things. Then vulnerable groups, for of course, the youth, young people, women, rural farmers are experiencing the impact of climate change. And I mentioned earlier about adaptation, climate adaptation. We do not have that finance. We don't have it. The concept is called adaptation finance. We don't have it in Africa. Or we don't have enough. I don't know if we don't have enough in Africa to actually help us to adapt to the effect of climate change. So this now is not being, we can assess it for grassroots level, for people that actually experiencing, for vulnerable communities that are experiencing the effect of climate change. And also, fossil fuel extraction is like they're still being prioritized over renewable alternative. How many of us have solar panel fixed to our place that give us uninterrupted light in this on this core? Let me say probably like less than 40% of us on this core have fixed solar panels that will give us uninterrupted light. I'm not talking about the one that they want to do in Aso Rock now that they've paid some billions. No, in your own community, you do not have that. And what most people resort to is using their generator. That is fossil fuel. That's even like I'm talking about like the simplest example. Your car too as well. How many people can afford electric vehicles on this core? Okay, And those simple alternatives that we use in place of fossil fuel products, we do not have much of those things. So we rely so much on fossil fuel. Talking about even the life of I'm talking about kerosene, the petroleum jelly, even gas as well too. So all of these are those things that are not actually equal in our community, making the reality of climate change more pronounced in our community. Please, the next slide. Am I moving too fast for should I slow down? Please let me know if you want me to slow down. We'll move in this pace. Let me know in the chat, please. If we are together, if you are moving in the same pace, please. I don't want to move too fast for us. Somebody can just unmute or just tell me. Anybody? I should keep going. Oh, thank you. Following. Thank you, Taiwo. So yeah, I just spoke about the effect of climate change, the realities in our day-to-day activities, and I spoke about the injustice that we are being we experience in our community when it comes to the life of to the aspect of we being the global south and the Western countries, developed countries, they being the global north, they polluting more into the atmosphere, and we experiencing all of the effects, even contributing less to climate change. Now, I'm going to be using myself as the case study all through this discussion. We mentioned that the reality of climate change and how young people can actually champion change, how we can contribute to the whole discussion. So my journey, my climate journey, of course, being the plugin director, being able to influence over 1,700 volunteers in the community to be able to clean up their environment 700 times, even more than 700 times, yes, to do their best to make sure that their environment um, is sustainable, is clean. So we start from like the basic step. Let's say for instance, I mentioned earlier that rising sea level in turn leads to flooding, and poor drainage system in our community will also increase or contribute to the effect of the floods. So imagine if we have good drainage system in our community, and this excess water comes as flood, they can actually pass freely in those drainages. But most communities their drainages are being clogged up with plastic waste. So what we do in our own little way, in plugin, is to make sure that we actually give those practical actions to going to those communities, removing the waste from the community and using it for other items, or taking it permanently off the environment. And I've been able to like champion that with amazing young people across the country. I'm sure that some of us are already part of the whole movement too as well. Also, I'm been able to coordinate the Project Conserve River freshwater conservation solution. That is, this one is focusing more on rivers, focusing more on freshwater ecosystem, making sure that we're able to keep, protect, conserve our freshwater resources. Talking about rivers, lake, all of those water bodies uh within our community, within the land, because this also have to every component of the environment play a significant role to protecting things around the environment, to contributing to climate change. We can't talk about not having access to water and we're still polluting the little one that we have. I'm sure that we all know that across around the world, we only have access to, I think, less than 1%, 1.5% of the whole water we have on Earth. We really have just 1.5% as clean water. Not even clean. Let me not use the word clean. As